Happy birthday if it's your birthday, happy belated birthday if it's in the past, happy future birthday if it's in the future. My name is Lime Green, and welcome to, I want to say, episode 8 of the Out of Time podcast. This is a podcast where I play games that I've never played at least all the way through before, and this time it's Ocarina of Time, and we're almost all the way through the game. Well, I think. I'm pretty sure. This time we did the Shadow Temple, which is kind of like a 2-for-1 sale with the bottom of the well. We'll get into it here. So you walk up to the Shadow Temple, and there's all these torches around, and I got stuck there for a minute, and because how I was thinking is you could play the whole game without getting magic. But the answer is you just gotta use Din's Fire. If you know in the comments, like, another way to solve that puzzle with just, like, a stick or something, or, shooting an arrow somewhere, I don't know. I'm really interested in that. So I had a bottle with a Pose Soul, and I didn't want to travel all the way back to, I guess I could played that one song, the Prelude of Light. See, I know, I'm learning, and went back to whatever. But I drank a Pose Soul. That was kind of weird. I just wanted to dump it out, but you can drink it? I'm not sure about that. But, moving into the Shadow Temple, it just starts out and there is a chasm, and you're like, oh, you got a long shot, and you long shot across, and it's like you can only pass through here with the lens of truth. And immediately I was like, oh, you could have came here before the well. See, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think I would I like it how the well works in tandem with the Shadow Temple, but at the same time I don't like it because I feel like the well would be creepier if it was just like you hear a playground rumor, and they're like, oh, have you gone down into that one dungeon that no one's even heard of, the out of the way thing. I don't know. So then you go in there, and it's like, only the person with sacred feet can walk the Valley of the Dead. And there's like signs and stuff everywhere. It's like, Shadow Temple. Here is gathered Hyrule's bloody history of greed and hatred. And you find a lot of readings in here, and they take forever to fade away for some reason. And then there's another one that says, what is hidden in the darkness? Tricks full of ill will. You can't see the way forward. Then there's like one of those, what are they called? From those guys from the ceiling? I don't know. And here's another point against the Shadow Temple, I guess. There's a dead hand here. Like, that could have been so cool. Again, with the point of how the well would have been cooler if it was just like a standalone thing. Imagine if Dead Hand just appeared down there and that was it. Like, I feel like if Dead Hand appears more than once, he like decreases. And it's like Pokemon cards. The more times a Pokemon card gets reprinted, the more it drops in value, you know? Then you find the hover boots. And I was like, hover boots? You mean like Pegasus boots? And they're kind of like Luigi mode. So then you instantly know what to do with them. You go back to the main room, and then you hover over to the platform. But there's a big gate, and I saw there's like skull torches, and I was like, oh, you gotta take your bow and you gotta shoot the flame through to the torches, but that wasn't working. And then like the bird thing in the middle was like, make my beak face the skull of truth, and you can rotate it. So I just kept moving it, and it worked somehow. And so then you fly back across the thing, and there's 3 different paths. In the middle, and 1 is invisible wall, and 2 are Grim Reaper statues. That's what I wrote, beat for beat. You gotta collect all the rupees and dodge the scythes. Like the Grim Reaper statues, that was really cool. Like, you just walk in the room and there's like huge statues swinging their scythes, and you gotta like crouch down with your shield, roll at the right times. And I don't know, the rupee getting thing is kind of a neat mechanic. And then the second path is a locked door, and then the third path is also invisible, and it's a room with 2 reed-eds and a compass. You know, compass. And then the second path, let me tell you. Oh, I'll get into it later. The second path has guillotines, skulltulas, platforming, and then a Stalfos fight. And then, alright. For a couple of minutes, I was like, well, where are you supposed to go? Where are you supposed to go? There's a platform that just keeps going, gong, 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 gong. Gong, 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 gong. It just keeps, like, lowering and dropping. Or picking itself back up and dropping, I don't know. And I was like, oh, this is a lens of truth moment if I've ever seen one. And you use the lens of truth, and there's like invisible platforms to your right. And you go over there and you start, you know, you start hopping. And then you go in there, there's invisible things. I was like, whoa. And then you clear that room. It's like a I think that one was the invisible scythe room. That was kind of cool. And turns out that was just for a golden skulltula. I was like really disappointed. That was just a dead end room. And I went back to the Southos area. I was like, man, what do you do? And what you gotta do is you... This is crazy silly. You gotta wear the hover boots. And I was like, oh, the thing I just got. So I was hovering across, and then you land on the platform when it falls. And then you gotta wait until it rises up to the top. And then you, like the tippy tip top. And then you run and roll. And then you like just grab the edge. And then pick yourself up. So then you go into this other room, and it's like you gotta make a stone umbrella. And I might have skipped some stuff. Well, I'll get back to it. Trust me. So you gotta pull this block out and like push it in the way for spikes, because they come down from the ceiling, and so you gotta push a block to block the spikes, and then like, you know, shimmy past the block to get a key. That was, I guess, heart pounding. I don't know. I always thought like I would accidentally slip out and the spikes would like crush you. And then you go the other way, and it's a room with invisible spikes and redeads and rupees, and you just gotta collect all the rupees, and the redeads are there to refill your magic, and you'll lens of truth really fast, and long shot up to like special platforms that are invisible, and collect all the rupees, and then you get a key or something. So at this point I was like, man, I'm feeling pretty good. I'll call it a night. Because I did all that in like a single day. And with the convenient access of the Nintendo 3DS, I'll just close it up and keep playing tomorrow. And so I restarted, and that was possibly the worst decision I could have made, because when I restarted, my gamer juice was gone. So there's this hallway that leads up to the room, and it's like, I'm just looking at my notes, and it's all capital letters. So you know how I was talking about the platforms with the guillotines and skulltulas and Stalfos. Yeah. So before that, like just before that, there's this area with the guillotines and skulltulas. So that is heck. So, you're running along this corridor, and then Navi's like, uh-oh, watch out. There's going to be things falling from the ceiling, or coming down from the ceiling. And you're like, oh, alright. And so you walk along this little corridor, and then, uh-oh, here comes the skulltula. And then it comes down so fast. And Link goes, oh! And then that takes, I want to say, half a heart. And then by the time you get up, by the time Link flies back and you slowly stand up, that takes so long. And then you shoot it with your long shot, and then it dies, and then you maybe get one heart out of it. It's like so agonizing. And then you walk a little, and then there's another skulltula that comes down. Oh! shoot it again. And the Skulltulas, they are in agonizing places, and I always forgot, and I died so many times. I lost count, honestly. I want to say, well, not died, but I just kept getting sent back to this room because if you fall off at the platforming part, you get sent here. It was crazy. So you go along through the Skulltula guillotine part, and then you find out what Navi's talking about. The wall master comes down the hand, and I didn't see it at all the first time. I was like, what? They're incorporating new things on this dungeon. I already got past this part. So I go jump, past the guillotine. I'm getting worse at this game. The guillotine got me that time. Now I gotta go back to the Skulltula part. You can't even walk past them. And you go jump. Stalfos, try and make them fall off the cliff. And then run with the hover boots. And then land on the platform that goes up and down. And then run with the hover boots, and Link doesn't even grab onto the edge for some reason. And do all that again for like at least 9 times or something crazy like that. So I finally got back to where I was, and that was sad. And you know, every other time I died, I got sent back there like at the beginning of the dungeon, so I had to do all that again, and that was upsetting and saddening. So I found out there was a door in the invisible spike room, and you just gotta open it up. And there's it's a giant skull room with another golden Skulltula, and you gotta throw the bombs into the skull's head for a key, and then it's like, whoa. So then you hook shot up, and then you drop down, and it's like a little fan area. And they say, those who have sacred feet should let the wind guide them. So you gotta be like using your hover boots in conjunction with the fan, and you gotta be running across into a wall, and there's like this eye that spits fire at you for some reason. You think that's the answer? No. So then in this room, it's two Gibdos and floor masters, and the fear of death I wrote because I only had like 3 hearts, and I was like, I don't want to do all that again. So I was like whoosh, 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 and I stood on the other side of the room, and I was shooting arrows, and apparently they're not affected by arrows, and I beat it, and I was like, alright, so what do? I needed a guide, because I did not want to do all that again, and I put, what you gotta do? What do you think you gotta do? You gotta put a bomb on, like, some dirt, and then you blow up the dirt, and then you use the Eye of Truth, and underneath the dirt, invisibly, is a chest with the key to the room. I was like, alright, I'll give you that one. And so you go through the door, and there's a pirate ship. And I was like, oh, pirate ship, that's kind of cool. Like a Keelhaul Key kind of thing. And so you climb on the pirate ship, and all of a sudden it's 2 Stalfos, and I was like, okay, I'll die, thank you forever. And I redid all that, got up to the South Host again, and then I used Din's Fire. They disappeared into the void. Then you go into then the pirate ship sinks, and it just kind of disappears into the void. And then you go into an invisible wall maze, which is kind of like a mirror maze type deal. And you just kind of like bonk around if you don't want to use your lens of truth. And there's another Skull Bomb game, but there's 3 of them now. You got, there's a trash chute, little Star Wars reference. I also didn't get what to do at first in this. I looked up a guide because I was like, do I gotta use the lens of truth? Do I gotta I don't know, hit a button? I really had no options. I was like, do I got a long shot up to a special, other area? And what you gotta do is you gotta Din's Fire the wood. So that was another thing. I was like, how would you do that without Din's Fire? That's another point for the Din's Fire people. I'm not sure. And so, in that room, that's the boss key. So I was like, uh-oh, the boss key's coming up. Or boss is coming up. So then, you go back to the pirate ship crash site, and then you gotta take your bow and shoot bombs on the other side, and a pillar falls, and you run across the pillar. That was cool. Cool cinematic. And then, it's one final thing where you just run across a Lens of Truth thing with the hover boots. You should be a pro by now. And then you fall into a hole and land on a bongo. And the boss is called Bongo Bongo. Kind of a... Well, I get... It makes sense. It makes... Not the bongo part, but like the eldritch horror when you use the Lens of Truth. The first time, I had no idea what to do. Like, he reminded me of the boss from Wind Waker, Godon, from the Temple of the Gods, I think. Yeah, Tower of the Gods. So, I was kind of playing it like that, but he'll just scoop me up and just like, master hand me, crush me into bits. And I lost all my hearts and both of my fairies like that. And the second time, I was like, okay, let's shoot arrows at his hands. And then did a little spin attack. And that just worked every time. He just like ran into that consistently. And I lost both of my fairies, but I did it. And then you meet Impa. Impa pretty much says she is Zelda's protector. She gives you the Shadow Medallion, and she says the princess is safe now. And then you return back to where you were. And then I was like, well, I feel like I can probably get something else with the golden Skulltulas. Let's get a upgrade maybe. And I did. I got the Giant's Wallet. So, what did we learn? Was it a successful follow-up to the bottom of the well? I feel like it was definitely had a lot of horror themes. I liked a lot that it had going on, like the Reapers with the scythes. I liked the pirate ship part was cool. The trash compactor, the lens of truth, like mirror maze. I'm not really sure like what we'll do with the hover boots outside here. Bongo. Here's a interesting fight. But was he an interesting follow-up to Dead Hand, who also appeared in this dungeon? I guess that it makes like a cool, next step. Yeah, that's what I'll say. It's a next, like an evolution. Because you gotta go to Ganon somehow. And then this is the part of the video where I try and guess what you get next temple. I will guess different arrows. Different arrow types. Because right now you're just shooting arrows through fire. Making fire arrows. Next temple, you'll be actually getting fire arrows and ice arrows. Boom. That's my guess. Next temple, it's gonna be like the mirror shield finally. But I don't know. Thank you so much for, I wouldn't say watching, listening. Hope it was a blast. Hope it was Zelda-rific. And I'll catch you on the flip side when we do Super Paper Mario, except I've already played it. See ya later.